Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, which means it's one thing, and that's Talking Tuesday. Today I'm here with Lisa from the Hartlepool NDC Trust, and Lisa's here to talk to us about the Housing Heroes project. Morning, Lisa.
Morning, Sarah. You all right?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Be better in a couple of weeks when we get back to work properly.
Yeah. As always, if anyone's got any questions or comments for Lisa, please pop them in the comments section and we'll try our best to get them answered for you. So, Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about what the Housing Heroes project is?
Yeah, Housing Heroes is a project that helps support young people coming out of care. We have properties in Hartlepool that we move them into, and then I support them with everything they need, really, in regards sort of moving into their own property. So it's looking at budgeting, their finances, healthy eating. I take them food shopping, so they learn how to cook on a budget and eat on a budget, because obviously quite a few of them don't have much money. I go to all appointments with them, so if they have doctor's appointments and there's something they're worried about, I'll go towards that. I go with all of the universal credit appointments and things like that. The young people that we tend to take in our project have low level needs rather than high level needs, because there's only sort of myself who supports the young people, and that's sort of over an 8-hour period, Monday to Friday, even though sort of I am on the phone outside of hours, really, if they need that support.
It must be a really rewarding job.
Yeah, I love it. I've worked with children and young people now since, 2004 in various capacities as a foster carer. I've managed children's homes, and now coming into this supporting care leavers. It is really great. I mean, our first young people moved into our first house in March 2019, and out of the four, 3 of them are still there. One young lad went back to live with his dad in Newcastle, which is great. So they've got a really good relationship now. So it's really good. As care leavers are sort of, they tend not to stay very long in a place, that they tend to move on. So for them to be there 2 years later, yeah, we're doing really well.
Is there any restrictions for how long they're allowed to stay, or is it just as long as they need?
No, in our project, we sort of tend to say you can stay as long as they're sort of classed as not care leavers anymore when they get to 25. So the local authority input will stop at 25. So we're sort of looking at that now as to what will happen then. Do we move them into their own sort of privately rented houses, but within sort of the NDC trust, because we also have houses that we privately rent where they wouldn't have support. So it's generally on the needs, but yeah, we'll sort of go from 18 to 25 at the moment.
Brilliant. And how many properties do you have at the moment?
We have 2. We have one in Thornton Street, which is at HMO, where there's 4 flats. So they all have their own ensuite facilities, but they share a kitchen. And then we've got one in Kilwick Street that we just finished in December, where there's 3 flats in that. And I've got one young person in there at the moment. But we also have 2 other houses, because 2 of our young girls, our care leavers, got pregnant and had babies. So because they still needed the support, we didn't just want to sort of move them on into their own homes and not have the support. So we moved them into 2 of our own properties, and they still get support. So I support them now with like themselves and their babies.
And do the young people have a really good relationship living together?
It's really strange, because you'd think they would, but they tend to sort of just do their own thing. So they'll stay in their own flat. They might occasionally pass in the kitchen and have a comment. But other than that, we do sort of have house meetings where they'll all come together, and we'll chat about, if there's any problems in the house and how can we rectify it, or if there's things that are going well. So we do that sort of, you want before the lockdown on a monthly basis.
Yeah, I know you were saying before we came on that you're a bit like a house mum to them, so you sort of negotiate any arguments and things like that about who's doing washing up and things.
Yeah, well, yes, about who's going to clean the kitchen, whose turn it is, and I get messages and saying so-and-so hasn't put the bins out and so-and-so hasn't put the rubbish out. So I've got to sort of broker between the 2 of sort of what's going on and things like that. So yeah, they call me the house mum.
Oh, it's lovely. It's such a worthwhile project. Really is. So, the houses, are those houses Am I right in thinking that those houses have been done up by you as well? Is that another
Yeah.
project that you've got?
As part of the Housing Heroes project, what we do is we sort of we also liaise with social services to see if they've got any young people that are looking to do a bit of volunteering work in the sort of the construction side, excuse me, or refurb side, that they can put young people forward for that, but they don't necessarily have to move in the houses. So we do sort of a bit of both. So we've had some people come forward who just wanted to do some work on the houses, but not actually move in. But then I've got two in Thornton Street who actually help with the refurb, and now they've moved in and live there. So we say it's more ownership than if they were just moving in because they actually did the
Yeah.
refurb. So yeah, it's a really good project just for in that alone.
That they must have an enormous sense of achievement to know that they've done that and then gone on to live in that house.
Yeah, I mean, one of our young lads, he always says to people, when they come around, he says, I helped refurbish this, and I did that bit and I did that bit. So it's really good. He likes to it's really good. And he goes to other projects and talks about Housing Heroes and what he did. So yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how's lockdown affected things for you?
Obviously before lockdown, I used to go and see the young people every week, sort of 2-3 hours I'd see them for. But obviously with lockdown and things like that, we couldn't have face-to-face meetings. So we've been doing meetings over Zoom, over sort of Messenger. I mean, they still sort of message me every day. I message them to make sure that they're okay, that they've got what they need. It just really, because we didn't have that face-to-face contact, so sometimes it's a bit hard for the young people, but they know I'm always there, like I say, on the end of a sort of a message or a Zoom call, whatever they need.
And what are the plans for the future with the project, or is there any more buildings in the pipeline or?
Well, we're trying to sort of think of another way because the referrals we're getting through from social services, they're not that many, unfortunately, which is sad. The number of living care young people in Hartlepool have quite higher needs, so they tend to go in the 24-hour support, which is sad in a way that they need that lot more help than what we can offer. So we haven't at the moment, but what we're sort of thinking about is because this project works so well with care leavers, we're now looking at maybe moving it forward to work with veterans, veterans who sort of need somewhere like a bit more support. So that's an area that we're sort of discussion at the moment, and we're working with a couple of organisations within the Northeast about, because they have supported 24-hour accommodation, about then some of their veterans moving into our accommodation where they'd have like the lower level support, i.e. me. So that's another area that we're looking at as well.
That would be incredible. That would be really good. I've done some work with veterans in my previous roles, and either a good bunch. But though that'd be lovely.
Yeah, there's a definite need for it. I mean, we've started to work with Changing Futures on the Headland because they're doing like a Kickstart program with the DWP, and that's getting young people back into work. So I've got 3 of my young people working with those at the moment to try and get them into jobs. So that's really good. It's looking promising.
Yeah, I love that it's not just about them having somewhere to live. It's about giving them that, like you said, the ownership and the skills to go out and move forward in life and look at getting job roles and getting the experience behind it.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm guess it's a referral, isn't it, into your service? So the young people would already.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah. It's a referral from social services. So we work closely with the Hartlepool Leave and Care team, and also the commissioners, the children's commissioners in Hartlepool. So if they think they've got a young person that would fit sort of our project, then they'll refer them on to me. Then what I do, I'll go out and meet the young person and see if they're a fit for the project, and vice versa. If they feel we're a fit for them. So it's got to be, if they don't fancy the project or don't think it's for them, it's a two-way thing. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, they won't get the benefit if they're not fully committed to it.
No, but for some of them, it's just not. I don't know. They're maybe not ready for it, or it's just they want to sort of go into the big wide world. And unfortunately, what happens in that scenario is they go into sort of private accommodation because they think they can manage everything, and then they find themselves that they can't manage the money they've got. They get themselves into debt and lots of problems, and that's why they tend to sort of move from house to house because they just can't manage. What other 18-year-old can go out in the big wild world at 18 and manage all of their own finances and budgeting and buying of food and cooking and looking after a house? It's really difficult for them. So
It is. Yeah, completely. I mean, I was 24 when I moved out and I had a partner and it was still a massive culture shock to be responsible for your own bills and cooking and cleaning and we obviously both had full-time jobs as well. So it's a huge thing. And I can
and
see why they want.
I know we sort of have, I mean, you have parents that are there. So if something's happening, you can go to your mum and dad and go, oh, this has happened or that's happened, or, I'm a bit low on cash, just kind of give me a bit of, they haven't got that, see. So that's sort of, they've got no one to really, they still have social workers there, but, it's sort of not the same as having your mum and dad or the bank of mum and dad, is it?
No, definitely not. Oh, so is this sort of a nationwide project then? Is there similar projects across the country?
There's supported accommodation across the country in different ones, but this came about because the Joseph Rowntree Housing Trust did sort of some scoping work going back to Hartlepool a few years ago, and that's how the Hartlepool Action Lab came about. And one of the projects within that they found that there wasn't adequate social housing really and supported housing for young people leaving care. So Joseph Rowntree came to NDC Trust because another project we had called Opening Doors, we supported young people onto our sort of construction side, and we used to have apprentices and volunteers. So because we'd worked with young people previously, they then thought, well, NDC Trust will be a good organisation to do the Housing Heroes. So that's how it all came about.
Oh, you've done some incredible work over the years. The Opening Doors, I remember I worked with some of the people who were doing that when I used to work at Hartlepool United.
Yeah.
And they did some work at the football club.
Yeah, we did.
And they did a brilliant job.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that sort of obviously lockdowns had an impact on that as well. Because obviously we couldn't go out and do any work, but hopefully once, now everything's lifted, that'll get back on track as well. So I'm sure Stu will talk about Opening Doors and things.
Yeah, when I can finally get him to come on.
Yeah.
Is there anything we haven't covered, Lisa? Is there anything that you want to get out there to sort of either young people leaving care or anything like that? Is there any message you want to get across, or do you want to get a shout out to people to give you support or anything at all? Now's your chance to speak up about what you guys are doing and promote the amazing work you're doing.
I think if there's any sort of organisations out there that are doing work with care leavers, or think that they can support a care leaver, or they're already supporting a care leaver in a different capacity, and they know that they're coming up to 18 and they need sort of the support that we can offer, they can always refer us in as well. And what I can do then is liaise with social services, to say, well, look, I've been referred this young person from a different organisation who's been working with this care leaver. Like recently we had someone from College of FE who had a care leaver who was sort of struggling and things like that. So they came to me initially and I said, well, let me know, and then we'll liaise with sort of social services. So if there's any organisations out there, like I say, working with care leavers who think that they need support in find accommodation or anything like that, then just get in contact with us.
Oh, brilliant. And we'll make sure we get your details out there with this video.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to link you up with some people. So do you still have flats available at the moment then?
Yeah, we've got one in Thornton Street at the moment, and we've got one in Kilwick Street. So and what's tending to happen is in Thornton Street I've got all boys at the moment, and in Kilwick Street girls. And I think that's they like it that way.
Yeah, I think it's probably for the best as well.
Well, I think sometimes because we had girls in Thornton Street, and because the boys seem to be sometimes a bit messy, the girls were a bit sort of, not happy because they weren't really cleaning like they like to clean. So
yeah, fair enough.
It is, absolutely.
Do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Lisa, and it's a really worthwhile project that you're doing. And I know speaking to sort of some of our young carers at that age, sort of 17, 18, 19. I just think it's incredible that there's this opportunities out there for those young people leaving care and sort of taking that next step.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to really help so many young people.
Fingers crossed, but that's what we're there for. So yeah, hopefully we can help them move on to be totally independent and not, fall into the traps that a lot of care leavers do when they don't get the support that they need.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me and keep up the good work. And I'll obviously, have you got Facebook, Twitter, social media, that sort of thing that people can sort of
Yeah,
keep an eye on what you guys are doing?
yeah. There's Facebook and Twitter. I don't think it's been updated for a while, but it will be in the next sort of coming months. They can just go on sort of Hartlepool NDC Trust website, and there's a bit on there about Housing Heroes. They can have a read and a phone number. So yeah, they can get in contact with us that way.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Lisa. It's been lovely speaking to you, and thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next
Okay.
week.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
Sarah.
you. Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.